Nehemiah begins by defining reality. Number two, when we're on the ropes, we're to fast, pray, and search the Scripture. We're to fast, we're to pray, and we're to search the Scripture. That's the second thing we see is he's wrecked with this burden and his back is against the ropes. Now, Nehemiah did this for approximately 4 months because as you see the opening prayer in chapter 1, it's in the month of Chislev, which is December. And the next time we see him appear before the king and make his request is in Nisan, which is April. So he didn't just rush out as soon as he's overwhelmed. He didn't just get after it and build his plan and go. He fasted. He prayed. And I believe he searched the Scripture, and I'll show you that in just a moment. But look at verse 4 again. As soon as I heard these words, I sat down and wept and mourned for days. And I continued fasting and praying before the God of heaven. Let's talk about fasting for just a moment. Fasting is a spiritual discipline that we engage in. And in the scripture, fasting is often tied to mourning, and fasting is often tied to prayer. Not mourning like when the sun comes up, but mourning, the grief that we have when we mourn. So when you fast, you intentionally set something aside for the sake of something greater. And people fast actually all the time from all sorts of things. They fast from food. Many people fast at the beginning of the year. They'll do a Daniel fast and they'll fast from meat and just eat fruits and vegetables. People fast from alcohol. They fast from social media, from entertainment, from television. The season of Lent, right, that comes up 40 days leading to Easter is a season of fasting, setting something aside for the pursuit of something greater. Fasting is a way to stay focused where you can prioritize, where you can pray, where you can dream, where you can think. It's a spiritual discipline. You're setting something of significance aside for something even more significant. So are you in a fight? If you're in a fight, I would encourage you to engage in the discipline of fasting. Nehemiah replaced food with prayer. So you replace food or alcohol or social media or some other activity, and you set it aside time for prayer and to search the Scriptures. Let's talk about prayer for a moment. Prayer is just simply talking to God. Nehemiah is doing this continually. He continued day and night fasting and praying. Now in Nehemiah chapter 1, we only have one recorded prayer, but notice the context. He didn't just pray one time, but repeatedly. Look at verse 4 again. As soon as I heard these words, I sat down and wept and mourned for days, and I continued fasting and praying before the God of heaven. He brought this burden to the Lord over and over and over and over again. God, I'm just concerned about what's going on in Jerusalem. And I feel an idea forming in my heart, and it feels kind of crazy. But I think you may want me to go and rebuild the walls. God, and the next day, right? God, I'm bringing to you the people of Jerusalem. I'm concerned for them. I'm praying for the peace of Jerusalem. And I'm praying for the people of Jerusalem. I'm praying for the walls of Jerusalem. I'm praying for the gates of Jerusalem. God, that prayer, it's hard to pray that prayer when they're lying in a room. Do you really want me to do something? And he brings the burden over and 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 over again. Just trying to make a point here. He didn't just say, well, I prayed about it once. He was weighed down. His back is on the ropes. And he prayed. And he brought to the Lord his burden. Simply talking to God. You know, Hebrews chapter 4 invites us to come boldly to his throne of grace to find help. Look at Hebrews 4:14 through 16. Since then we have a great high priest who has passed through the heavens, Jesus, the Son of God. Let us hold fast our confession. For we do not have a high priest who is unable to sympathize with our weaknesses, but one who in every respect has been tempted as we are, yet without sin. In other words, Jesus gets it. He gets what you're going through. He gets the struggle. Let us then with confidence, verse 16, draw near to the throne of grace that we may receive mercy and find grace to help in our time of need. Friend, the scripture invites you to come into the throne room of God and share your needs, your burdens, your petitions, your concerns, that which has wrecked your heart. Come boldly to the throne. Find the mercy you need and the grace you need to help you in your time of need.